go through with a potential client and talk about the process. And then we can talk about our holiday tips and tricks and what to do with the new year for 2021.
Yes, I would love that. This is April Cox. I am just getting ready to launch this awesome meeting with Lori Orlinsky and Bourque from Foreword Publicity. I was so excited to find them. So much talk lately about what can we do to drive sales for the holiday. So many authors looking for ways of just, getting that publicity out there. And how do I get in touch with influencers? So when I saw some postings from Lori and Allie in one of the Facebook groups, I reached out to them and said, this would be an awesome opportunity to pull you guys together. And I myself could use publicity for my own business. And I know I'm not the only author out there that's also looking for better ways. From my perspective, I'm not a natural when it comes to marketing. So having that help is really wonderful. And we have today Lori Orlinsky, Bourque. I love the fact that I'll just make a brief introduction about what really stood out to me with these two lovely ladies. So they created this publicity firm. And so it's created by authors for authors. I love that, because how else are you going to know? They know what you need. They've been here. They have been doing this, author stuff for a very long time. What I really loved about Foreword Publicity is their customized publicity. So they create custom solutions. That stood out to me, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm not a one-size-fits-all kind of gal. I've got all kinds of different needs, as do many of my authors. So I thought that was a phenomenal opportunity. And they have the endorsement by Midwest Book Review, so recommended for book marketing and publicity by Midwest Book Review, which I highly respect. And I do go to Midwest for book reviews. So when I saw their name there as well, it was really exciting. So I've been talking way too much. I'm excited about this topic, as you can tell. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Allie to talk a little bit and introduce herself, and then she can let Lori introduce, and then I'm just going to hand it off, and we're going to have a great conversation.
Thank you, April. Oh, Lori and I love questions, so feel free to ask questions, interject, ask us anything. We're very transparent, and we pride ourselves on being transparent. So we welcome questions. So I'm Bourque. My full name is Allison. Some people say Allie, some say Allison, some say Alley Cat. I am a licensed attorney. I taught school for a year before going to law school. And so I practiced law for about 7 years. And I had 2 young children at the time, and I decided that I wanted to take about a year off and call it like a temporary retirement and spend more time with them at home and just doing things for myself. And so one night I was talking them into bed. We always read books whenever we're going to bed. And so I was reading them a ton of books, and they said, well, Mom, we've read every single book in this bookshelf. We need more books. And so I'm trying to be frugal. And so I said, well, how about I just write you a book? And they were so excited. They jumped up and down. And I think because they believed in me, I believed in myself. And so this was my aha moment that this was something I can do. I've always loved to write. I have, a very vivid imagination. And so we put them to bed. I went downstairs, and that's when I started writing the Alley Cat series. So I wrote my first manuscript. I sent it out to over 100 publishers and literary agents, and got about 88 rejection letters within a few months, which was very tough, as you all probably know. And then one night I was on my computer. I got an email from my now publisher, and they said they wanted to publish my manuscript. And I haven't gone back to practicing law since. I've been an author, a children's book author since 2015. I have 4 books in my series, and I have plush toys to go with it. just a long story short of how Lori and I collaborated. We're both with the same publisher, and we knew each other through our publisher. And during the pandemic, we decided to start this kind of Ask an Author Facebook Live where we would interview other authors. And so we did that. We had such a great time helping authors. We did it for free. We just love getting to know authors and sharing their stories and helping them get their stories out. And so, about a few months later, we ended up getting our first actual client, and now we have nearly 40 clients. And this is all started this year. And we're just so happy to be doing this. And it feels like this is the journey that we were supposed to take, is to help other authors.
That's wonderful.
And I can tell you a little bit about me. Hi, everybody. I'm Lori Orlinsky. I'm currently in the very, very windy city of Chicago. It's like very freezing today. But my journey is a little bit more non-traditional, similar to Allie's. So I was a journalism major, and I've always written for magazines, and it's always been a bucket list item for me to write a children's book. And I would sit down and write things here and there, but I never felt great about them. And one day, my daughter came home from school crying when she was 3, and she was so upset because they did a growth chart activity, and they measured all the kids, with their height, and all of Haley's friends were at the top and the middle of the growth chart, and her name was all the way at the bottom. And she was upset because she was getting bullied for being short. And so, like any good mom, I went on Amazon, I went on Barnes & Noble, because I truly believe books can solve any problem. And there were no books about small kids. And that was like my calling. I decided to write one, and it very quickly took off. I similar to Allie, I sent out about 200 query letters. Majority of them went unresponded, and I hooked up with Mascot, and I've also never looked back. So Being Small Isn't So Bad, after all, was my first book. My second book is called The Tooth Fairy's Tummy Ache, and it's another lesson-based book. It's about a little girl, and she swallows her first tooth, and so she puts a kernel of popcorn under her pillow, and it starts popping, and the tooth fairy gets sick, and the whole lesson is that it's best to be honest and always tell the truth. You should have just told me that you swallowed your tooth. And so it's a nice, fun lesson, but it has all the kind of fun stuff that kids love. And then I have a third book called Balloons for Tiger, and it's a book to help with pet loss, and it's coming out in May, and it's actually due to the fact that we lost our cat, and we did a balloon release, and then my kids would constantly ask where the balloons were, and I found myself saying, oh, Santa picked up the balloons on his sleigh, and they're, watching the 4th of July celebration. And so it's a nice, gentle way to deal with pet loss in a way that doesn't feel forced. And I'm also a full-time, soon becoming part-time, but marketing director. I currently work at PBS in Chicago as a director of marketing. I've been in marketing for 17 years, having worked for big brands like Splenda and Good Humor, and even doing stuff on McDonald's, and now, trading that into marketing books. And I absolutely love what Allie and I have built. It's been truly amazing. It started out as one person asking for help, and we really haven't done anything in terms of advertising. It's been really word of mouth. And it's just so nice because not only do we have our processes that we use, but we really act as mentors to these authors, because Allie and I are the guinea pigs. We wish that we were around when we were marketing our own books, because as you guys know, there's legit companies out there, but unfortunately there's also places and people that want to take advantage of your being green and being an author. And so we've had a lot of successes, but also as important as the successes, the failures, because we learned from the failures. We learned which awards we should apply for and that we have a fighting chance, and which awards are not worth our time and energy, and so on. And the same goes for reviews and other marketing strategies. And so we're really happy to share Foreword Publicity. We love books. In July, I got a tattoo of a book on my wrist. We love books, and we just are so thrilled to be able to help authors on their journey. It's really so much fun for us.
That's fantastic. I know one of the most important things that we're all thinking is, what can we do to get more sales this holiday season? Is it too late? We probably should have been planning 3 months ago, but at this late hour, hopefully there are things you can share that any author could take advantage of. And then I'd love to hear more about your services and what you guys do, because I, for one, could really use the help from a marketing and publicity perspective.
So absolutely. And the thing to just say, you're not too late. I'll let Allie take it over, but you're not too late. The timing is actually perfect to start, promoting yourself.
Absolutely. So what advice I would give all authors is that first, take a moment to reflect, and then adapt, and then react. So reflect on what you've done all year and see what worked and what didn't work. See your past successes, see your failures, see if those Facebook ads just didn't lead you anywhere, see if the Amazon advertising did well. Just reflect on everything you've done over the year and decide, I'm going to try to do something different because times are different. And that's where you will adapt. We're in such a virtual world right now that we're not able to do virtual in-person visits. We're not able to go to schools and libraries. So it's really important to try to adapt to today's times. And so you can do several things like Facebook Lives. You can ask your local Barnes and Noble if you can hop on their Facebook. Sometimes they'll give you access to be able to go live on their feed. There are a ton of things you can do to adapt to today's world. And the last thing I would recommend is just to react. That means get up and do what you need to do to put yourself out there. Because if you're not doing it, no one else is going to do it for you. I mean, unless you're hiring a PR firm, but you still have to do it for yourself. And so create a marketing strategy that fits your audience and your needs. So if your audience is younger kids, make sure that you're doing things like animated videos, read-alouds. If your audience is more of graphic novels, you want to hit those pre-teens. They're on TikTok. Make a TikTok with your book. You have to find your audience somehow, some way. So we have several tips and tricks that we can run through for the upcoming holidays. And like Lori said, it's never too late to start.
And in a year with so many unknowns, crafting a magical holiday season strategy can seem really overwhelming. But the best way not to overwhelm yourself is to stick to the basics. And so a couple things we can run through, and we can take questions after every tip, or if you guys want us to expand, we're happy. But one of the best and easiest things, especially if you have your own website, is to create a promo code related to the holiday, and also tell somebody in their promo code with a number what you're giving. So let's say it's a Christmas discount of 25 off, Merry 25, Holiday 25. Let's say it's a Hanukkah discount of 15% off. Maybe it's lights 15, or, use words that are related to what you're doing and put the number in there. We've all been there where it's hard to create coupon codes, but nobody is going to remember coupon code 12AXZ0756. So do shareable things that people will know and can remember. And, if you don't have the ability to create a coupon code, if you're on Amazon, I know most authors are, Amazon very rarely does sales, but when they do and you're a part of it, share that. Right now, they're doing $5 off when you spend $20 on certain books. And so Allie and I realized that one of each of our books are part of it. So we're going to collaborate on some kind of promotional post on that. Even if Amazon drops your book from $14.95 to $11, post about it. It's a significant savings for people, especially when they already get free shipping.
And just like Lori said, it's good to collaborate. You should collaborate with other authors for a holiday giveaway. We recently did that on Instagram. So we had about 12 different authors, and we hosted a giveaway on all of our feeds. So everybody will post that graphic with all of our books at a certain day at a certain time. Then at the end of the week, we pick a winner from each one of our accounts. So I have a winner, Lori has a winner, and so on. And then somebody who's kind of leading up on this giveaway takes all of our winners and picks the grand prize winner, which is all of the books that are in the giveaway. And so they get the email, and then everybody sends their book from their own houses or from their own warehouse to the winner. So that's how you can easily collaborate with other authors to do a giveaway. And it's really great because you can actually get to know other authors. You can collaborate with them in the future. You can see what they're doing and maybe get ideas for things that you can do differently. So I firmly believe in collaborating with other authors on social media.
Absolutely. And you also can require people to follow you. So you get so many new followers through that. And so that's one of the, especially on Instagram, that's one of the biggest perks, because you want to have a loyal, engaged following, people that like books. You don't want to buy your followers, and you don't want to have followers from random loops. It's important to have engagement. Because I love numbers, I'm going to give you guys another number tip. So capitalize on the numbers in the holidays. So the 8 nights of Hanukkah, the 12 days leading up to Christmas. You know, maybe let's take Hanukkah, for example. On the first night, you can announce, these are the 8 nights of Hanukkah. On every night, I'm going to do something special for my followers. Come back here at 6 p.m. and check out the special. And so maybe one day it's a free coloring sheet. Maybe the next day it's a buy one, get one free. Maybe the next day it's a free shipping. And you can do that for Hanukkah. You can do that for the 12 days leading up to Christmas. You can really do that for anything that you find a number with. And it drives excitement. You wouldn't believe how excited people get to like check your page. They may set an alarm. You can encourage them to share it. It's really fun. And you can make free graphics on Canva to promote that.
So somebody asked, how do you do a holiday sale on Amazon? So I don't believe that we have access to put our books on sale on Amazon. But I think Lori was saying that if you see your book on sale, make sure you blast it on social media and let everyone know. That way they can see that also.
Yeah, and I would also say that even though you can't like do some kind of sale, you can drop your price and then say, I'm going to, you know, for the week leading up to Christmas, or for today only, I, you know, go down to like the minimum, or knock a couple of dollars off your price. So if Amazon's not doing it, you can still do something to manipulate your price if you so desire.
Right. We don't have access to Amazon through our publisher, so we can't personally lower our price, which is a huge benefit for authors who can do that kind of stuff. But even with Kindle Unlimited, you can actually drop it to free to read. So that would be it's a great time to do that right now. Another great tip is to do a holiday themed virtual book reading. So if you happen to have, you know, a Santa costume, or if you have reindeer horns, anything like that, to be festive and read, and maybe have hot cocoa, be sitting by the tree, candy canes, Christmas music playing, do a holiday themed virtual book reading, and have people comment if they want to purchase your book. So maybe comment your email, and then you can email them an invoice. You can email them a link to buy your book afterwards. And so another great tip is when we go visit Mrs. Claus and Santa, when we're taking pictures with my children, I'll always bring my books and my plush toys, and I'll ask Santa to, there you go, Mrs. Claus and our book. So get them to take pictures with it. If you're just anywhere out and about and you see Santa or Mrs. Claus or anything festive, put your book in front of it and take a picture.
Another thing with people love photos. Photos, like, that's why Instagram is so popular. So do a holiday themed photo shoot with your book. You know, you can't really go anywhere right now. So make a holiday backdrop. Put your book up against a sled. I live in Chicago, so I'm literally going to put my book out in the snow. It'll look so pretty. But put your book, wrap it in a ribbon, put it under the Christmas tree, stand it up in front of the menorah, whatever you want to do to make it festive and fun. People are in the holiday mood. Stick some garland over it. They're going to get excited. And just say something under this year's Christmas tree. This book can be yours, or this could be one of your presents on the 8 nights of Hanukkah, and get people excited about it.
Another thing that you can do is send out season's greetings through email. You can use things like MailChimp or Constant Contact, and send out just a, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, or, happy New Year. Send those out because people really appreciate getting those kind of things in an e-newsletter. Last year I sent a whole bunch of little Alley Cat holiday cards in the mail, and the kids love them. So anybody who ordered throughout the year, or teachers and schools and librarians where I visited, I sent them all holiday cards and they really loved it. I also did a calendar last year, and that way for the next year they would have a calendar to put in their libraries. And so every day they would go through the different months and see Alley Cat and would have the book. And I also sent them a gift, like a clock, an Alley Cat clock, which is really easy to make. You can go to Walmart and you can buy one of the cheap clocks. They're like $3.99, and you can print your book image or your character and take apart the clock, put it back together, and give those as Christmas gifts, holiday gifts, New Year's gifts for librarians, because they'll put it up in their libraries or in the classrooms. And then, children are constantly looking at clocks.
And if if budget is tight or you don't have time for that, you can also do free Google different word searches. And we can talk about that. We're going to talk about bonus content in a little bit too, but there are word search generators. There are maze generators. There are all kinds of connect the dot generators that you can create for free online using the themes of your book. And so give that as a gift. Email librarians, email customers and say, happy holidays, just wanted to pass this along to keep your kids busy. You could easily, probably in Word, even create a bookmark and send it as a one sheet to librarians and put the little just to show where they cut. And, that's also, it's a digital world right now, so they might really appreciate it. Same if you've been to schools and done readings or virtual readings, send those to the teachers and let them pass them out. And perhaps, put your website on there, put your book on there, and stick an order form along with it.
And somebody asked, are you talking about hard copy types of cards to physical addresses? So I sent both. I sent holiday cards to all of the people who ordered. So I had their addresses. I also had some from a newsletter from different school visits, and I sent them hard copies. And then I also sent like a e-newsletter through MailChimp. So we have a lot of New Year tips because we're hoping 2021 is a bright new year and we get through all of this pandemic, but not, we still have some good tips. So one thing to do is take every single month and find a new marketing channel to promote your book. And then by the time you get to December, you'll have 12 new marketing channels. So let's say that you've been doing the same thing. Well, we talked about adapting to today's times. Maybe go, if you have a graphic novel, and start doing videos on TikTok. You don't have to dance on TikTok. You can actually just do videos. And so kids might see it. You could do Pinterest. You can do, of course, Instagram. They have so many new things. They have catalogs in Instagram now. I don't know if you've seen that. You can actually put your top 10 choice of books on the catalogs of Instagram, and it doesn't have to be your own books. You can put, all of your colleagues' books and stuff, and then it forms those relationships, and you do for others and they'll do for you. And so after January through December, hopefully you'll have 12 new marketing channels to approach for the new year.
Somebody asked, by outlets per month, are you referring to just social media and intent type access or other revenues? And I think, Allie, jump in if you have a different answer, but in general, find 12 different anything to promote your book. So one, if you're not on Instagram, could be Instagram. Two, it could be creating a guide, maybe that could go on the website, Teachers Pay Teachers, so you can help something to go along with your book. It doesn't all have to be on social. It could be, maybe one is just creating a flyer for virtual school visits. Just take something that you want to do and put it into goals by month, because looking at something one time a month looks a lot better than looking at 12 things for a year.
Another thing that I did last year is I have a few little free libraries of my own, but my kids love to visit other little free libraries. So I went through the entire month of August and did a scavenger hunt with my books, and I hid them in several different little free libraries, and I would post about it and say, can you find this one? And I would take pictures of things that were nearby and give clues. So that's a different marketing that I did in August. I thought it would be great for summer.
One of my favorite ways to kind of fashion up marketing is to find a day or a holiday that's related to my book. So, or related to myself. For example, I'm a left-hander and there's National Left-Handers Days, and I see there's a couple here, and I get so excited about it. So I post my book, I post a little bit about my writing process. One of my books is the Being Small book, as I mentioned. And there is literally such a thing as Short Girl Appreciation Day. It's December 21st. It's the shortest day of the year. So there's content for me. There's content for me when it's National Tooth Fairy Day for my other books. So there is content. There's National Scribble Day. There's National Squirrel Day. Whatever you have in your book, you can find a National Day calendar. Just Google it. And we know people that if you can't find it, you can actually petition to get a holiday created, which is really neat. And it doesn't have to be, again, about your book. It could be about yourself as a person. And so I know Allie just recently celebrated, was it Siamese Cat Day with her book? And so there's so much fun stuff out there.
There is. So another thing you could do is if you have a book out there and maybe it's been out for a couple of years, you can reprint the books with a different cover. So I've recently, I did that with 2 of my books. I wanted to change up the cover a little bit. I did need to add some award seal on one of them. So I changed up the cover and did a re-release. And I always do a release where in an unboxing where it's live, it's on video, it's interactive. And I just get my audience and my readers involved in almost everything I do in the writing process. And so at one point, I changed the back cover, and I had some of my readers write reviews and did a contest where they would be able to have their review posted on my back cover. And so they had, several steps to do, and it was just a really fun thing. And they take ownership in being a part of your journey. So involving readers, changing your cover, changing maybe even a few different things, and then putting it out there this is brand new, hot off the press.
And as it relates to reviews are such a tricky thing. I see a lot of you nodding. With Amazon, we obviously want to get the verified reviews. Those are the best. So if you know people that have read your book, if it's friends, if it's family, reach out to them one at a time. Maybe every week, make it a goal to reach out to 3 different people personally and say, hey, so-and-so, I know that you recently got my books. I saw that you're doing this. So kind of make it a little bit more personal. Amazon is really important to my algorithm. Here's exactly how to leave a review. Would you mind doing that for me? It helps me a lot. And you'd be surprised because I've done it both ways. Early on in my career, I would blast out an email and say, hey, everybody that's gotten my book, can you please leave a review? And people don't want that. They want the personal touch. And so when you ask them, please, and you say thank you, and you tell them, mention something, I saw you're doing this, happy holidays, try and get a few reviews a week. A few reviews a week, again, is a lot less daunting than trying for a goal of 100 at a time. And, verified reviews are better, but it's okay. If somebody that bought your book from somewhere else and they're willing to leave an Amazon review, that's great. As long as the review is not a 1-sentence thing that doesn't look like they read your book. It should be an actual solid review with some meat on it. So if you guys have any questions, we ran through a lot of info too on
I have a question. Sorry if you can't hear. I'm trying to be a little quiet in my house. So when you're asking them to give reviews, would you give them an example of a good meaty review or make a suggestion in a way that's not in their face?
I might say, is there a way you might be willing to leave a review at least 3 sentences long and maybe kind of give them that? And if there's something that you really want them to pull out of your review, for me, let's take the Tooth Fairy. I would say, hey, would you mind leaving a few sentences review on that? It's really important that kids and parents know that in addition to this being a fun book, it also is a lesson-based book. So would you mind mentioning that it teaches a good lesson? So you can guide them in a way where you're not putting words in their mouth, but you can kind of give them the topic and let them go that way.
So maybe like 1 or 2 topics, so they actually have to think about it, and then you'll get at least those 2 sentences because you gave them 2 topics.
I would even maybe give them 1 topic. Sometimes people get a little bit overwhelmed. I find when you give them too much, and just say, hey, would you mind talking about this point? This point's really important to me. This will help people understand why I wrote the book, or this will help my audience.
Thank you.
And we actually just had a client who did a graphic that she made on Canva, and she was asking for reviews, and she showed how to leave a review on Amazon. So the first step, because it's not that easy. So the first step she showed, search for my book, and she like she circled it. And then she wrote step 2, scroll all the way down to the left hand and click leave a review. Step 3, hit 5 stars or however many stars. And then step 4, put your review in. And then she literally put step 5 is push send. And I think people need some of those reminders because Amazon doesn't make it super easy to leave a review.
Can I add to that actually? And I just figured this out. On your phone, there's actually a setting that says record my screen. And wherever you start recording, and then after it's done, you can actually edit it so it's nice and easy, and you can lengthen it so people can actually see it, and you can draw on it and add like with texts on it. So like every single thing they'll be able to do slowly. That's it. Thank you.
I love it. It's however you can make it when you're asking for a favor, make it so easy for people. And even with that, like you don't want to reward people for leaving a review. Like that's not cool. But what you can do is say, everybody, you can run a contest and say, leave me a review, send me a screenshot. And at the end of the month, I'm going to draw for a $5 gift card. So, and it could be from Starbucks, it could be for Amazon. So you're not paying somebody for your review or gifting them for the review. You're gifting them to take the step of doing it. And feel free, again, with reviews, if you have a really strong review, go to Canva, make a graphic, and say the reviews are in, and highlight. Take a day, take a week, and just highlight the different themes in your book. And when you're highlighting them, whether it's on your Facebook or Instagram, take the time and thank the reviewer. Thank you so much for taking the time. Here's this awesome review. Be sure to leave one for me. These are so helpful. Maybe I'll showcase it on my social media.
That's a great idea.
So somebody asked about changing the book and adding a Christmas tree at the end to make it more festive. And I think that's a cute idea. I would probably use the same character and write, like if it was mine, Alley Cat Saves Christmas. So I would write a new story. But you can't, if you're going to almost republish it and make it kind of new again, adding things like that are great ideas. I would make it where you have an audience for it. You have content in it that you can plug at different times of the year. So from here, we can go into the different services that we provide. When we have a consultation, which is always free with a potential client, we actually run down through each and every one of our outreaches that we provide. Lori and I are very transparent, so we have this huge spiel that we give to our potential clients, and they have all kinds of questions, but we want to be as open and honest. We're honest about our fees. We're honest about our out-of-pocket expenses that will incur, our discounts that we obtain with different services. And so all of these things we feel just provides a great relationship with our clients. And so within our campaigns for our different clients, we have a 3-phased approach. So phase 1 is a hype phase. We want to build the hype for your book. We want to create and generate that initial buzz. Even if your book has been released a few years ago, you can always recreate that hype. And so the next phase is the build phase, and we're trying to establish your credibility as an author. And then our last phase is the grow phase, where we're thinking beyond bookstores. We're thinking museums, libraries. You're building on everything that you have obtained so far. So in phase 1, we have several different outreaches that we do. Our most popular phases and outreaches in phase 1 are award submissions, review submissions, a virtual book tour, which we can kind of elaborate on, and things like Read-Alouds. So I will talk a little bit about a virtual book tour because that's what we get the most questions for. So a virtual book tour is when your book is going on tour. So let's say you book a 15 stop tour. So every day for 15 days, your book is hitting a blogger site who is reviewing your book. There's an author interview, a guest post, anything that the reader can do to get to know you as an author. And so every day you're building that hype, you're hitting a different blog each day for anywhere from 10 days to 25 days. And it's really great to keep up that momentum. Once they post about your book, you can comment, you can thank them, you can share it, and they also will review on your Amazon and your Goodreads. So it has so many different benefits. You know, when we say virtual book tour, a lot of our authors say, well, am I going virtually on this tour? And it's not them, it's the book. So, you know, we set up the tour. We obtain a really nice discount from the tour company because we've been working with them for many years. And so once you're on tour, every day they're posting and bragging about your book. So it's a really nice thing.
And we also pair that, one of our second most popular outreach that we pair it with, which goes hand in hand with that, is influencer outreach. And so I'm sure y'all are familiar. Look at me, y'all. I'm taking advantage. I'm sounding like Allie here. So if you guys are familiar with Bookstagrammers, those are essentially Instagrammers that write book reviews. And so there are Bookstagrammers that are teachers. There are Bookstagrammers that are moms. I don't know if you guys have young kids, but if you've ever seen young kids look on YouTube, there are toy unboxers, which my kids watch. So there are Instagrammers for basically everything. And we have such wonderful relationships with people that are real. And when I say real, we have great relationships with people that have anywhere from like 2,000 to 20,000 followers, but have actual engagement. So they might post something and get a couple hundred comments or a couple hundred likes. These aren't people with 50,000 followers that get 0 likes and 0 comments, because those are the people that buy their following. So it's really easy to fall into that trap and think that you want somebody with a huge following, but really you want to work with somebody with great engagement. And so we will set our clients up with people that make the most sense for them. We have a client who is a cancer survivor and wrote a book for her children that are now adults. But if her children were, for when they were 5 and 6 dealing with the cancer diagnosis, how to make sense of it. And so we found people that are going through cancer journeys, and we found people that, can read these books to their kids and then talk about it. And so we find real people that make real connections. Another thing that was really successful is that we have a client whose book is Explore the World of Chemistry, and it's a picture book, and it's an ABC book, and each term is a different big word for chemistry that they're trying to, make it fun for kids. And so we worked with Instagrammers who love STEM and do things actively with their kids. And so we had some people making slime, and they were inspired by the elasticity verb in the book, and they had a picture of the book. We had kids making bubbles. I mean, we had kids doing all kinds of things instead of just putting a picture of the book. And so we like to pair that with the tour, because for marketing, it's kind of the rule of threes. If you see something in your circle 3 times, you're more likely to put it into the consideration set. So you're more likely to buy it. And so that's, something that we love. And just to hit also on awards, as Allie mentioned, there are so many awards out there, and some come with a really big price tag. And so Allie and I, again, are the guinea pigs. We've applied for so many awards that have been great and some that haven't. And so we have a database of 100 or so awards, and we really comb through it to find the best category and give our clients the best winning chance. We have a client who she did a collection of short stories that were very, very similar to the Rebel Girls. And we worked with her on some different awards, and she just got a gold medal from a recent award company yesterday. So we're really excited. Our clients have done very well because we take the time to look through every category. And so just awards can set you up for success, because when you're eventually looking to get your book into a store or into a library, it makes such a difference to go in and say, I am an award-winning author versus I am an author. Obviously, it's great to be an author, but to be an award-winning author, you get so much more credibility.
And it's the same for the review. So we do review submissions, which are not your typical review from your family and friends. These are editorial reviews. And so that's really great when you're going to a store and you have an editorial review for your book. Maybe you put it on the back of the blurb, like on the back of the book as a blurb. You can also put that editorial review on Amazon. There's a whole section for just those reviews. And so those are really great. Set you apart from other authors. So we move into like a phase 2 approach from there with podcasts and news outreaches and content marketing. Podcast outreach is super fun. Our authors love going on different podcasts. We try to pair them up with people who have similar interests. So we have an author with a music book, and she's also a music teacher. And so one of our podcasters, she's got the word music in the title of her podcast. So they are in line with each other. And so they really hit it off. And you can tell whenever they're comfortable with their podcaster, the author will open up more, and then your audience gets to know you when you open up more. And so we have a whole list of podcasters that we use. We never charge an out-of-pocket for podcast outreaches. News outreaches are a little tricky, but we actually try to hit those news outreaches with a press kit within your local market area. Somebody had a question about the book tour. Would you prefer a media kit with that so they would have more info? I send a media kit with any time I have my book. So I just mailed out a few books today to my husband's cousin. I sent a media kit. You just never know. She might take it to, her children's school, and then they know where to contact me if they want a virtual visit. So, but definitely media kits, which is another service that Lori and I provide. We do sell sheets, fact sheets, press releases. And so we highly recommend that our clients send that for our social influencers and for the book tour. And then you could take the press kit and put it on your website and have that to use on your own.
Bookstagrammers are Instagram influencers.
Oh, yeah. You send hard copy media kits or digital. So if somebody is reviewing your book and they're reviewing the PDF, I would send it digitally. But most of the time, our clients will send a hard copy. I usually print, just kind of tips and tricks, I usually print my press kits at Office Depot, because it's full of colors. I like to print it full of colors, so it's kind of like a wow factor. And instead of printing at home, it's just more cost efficient, and they're always running different promos.
One of my favorite things in phase 2 is content marketing. This is something that I've personally excelled in, and I'm going to explain to you. It's one of these things that not a lot of people know what it is until you explain it, but it's essentially taking you and making you an expert on what you write about. So a great example is with the bullying prevention book being small, I received certification by the CDC. So I'm certified in bullying prevention and response training. And so instead of just telling people, hey, I'm certified, I write articles and blog posts. So recently, this is a really great example. I wrote a blog post about bullying in the time of remote learning. And many people are saying, oh no, bullying is not happening during remote learning. And I wrote an article about how it is happening and how you could prevent it. There's a lot going on. And so I sent it to some different outlets. And while it doesn't specifically say anything about my book, the bio has a link to buy my book. And it says Lori Orlinsky is a bullying prevention expert. She's certified, here and there. And she's got this book out, and it's got a link to my Amazon. And I've been able to be picked up by Scary Mommy, by Motherwell. I've been quoted in the Huffington Post and some major outlets. And so it really gives you some clout, and people email me all the time to talk about bullying prevention, and it gives me a relationship with these people, and they're more apt to share my stories. And because they feel that we have this relationship because they read my articles, they're more likely to buy my books, not only for their children, but also as gifts. And so it's really important, if you have any kind of books, no matter what the topic is, we can definitely find a hook for you. As we kind of mentioned, one of our clients who is a cancer survivor, she's also a keynote speaker, but we've been able to work with her to draft some different blog posts and send it to places about how to talk to your kids about cancer. And it doesn't say, title is not buy my book, it's advice. And then the secondary is, by the way, I have this book. And so content marketing is a soft sell, and it makes you the expert, makes people like you. And then the hope is that they'll buy your product. So that is something that we do as part of our phase 2. Not everyone has a great content marketing story because, let's face it, some books are just for fun, and that's perfectly okay. But content marketing is something that we can do, and we love to do it.
So we have several other services that we offer, and I know we're probably running over on time. We tend to.
Oh no, we're fine, and as long as you're willing to hang out longer, I'm willing. No problem at all.
So we also offer Read-Alouds, which are really great. We're in this virtual world right now, and there are a ton of YouTube creators that we work with, and they are basically reading aloud your book. Some of them will snap their finger and turn into a character in your story, and kids love that. I love Read-Alouds because, I have kids of my own, and if you have kids, you know this. When you tell them to do something or what they should or shouldn't do, they kind of halfway listen because you're always telling them that. But when someone else tells them, they listen more. And so it's the same with reading. If I'm reading them a story, they've heard me read it so many times. But when I put on a Read-Aloud, they listen. Now I've gotten to the point where if I need them to do something, sometimes I'll just call Lori and I'll say, Miss Lori's on the phone, and make her tell them. And then they listen. So it's just one of those things. It's very interactive. It helps with their literacy. It's just such a great thing for them. And it's better than them watching just a kid unboxing a toy,
Mm-hmm.
And with Read-Alouds, you own that content. So when a content creator does a Read-Aloud with you, you own that content. And so here's how I like to use Read-Alouds. One of the places that I've really excelled in my sales is libraries. I'm sure you guys know the big secret in libraries is that they can't return your books. So with libraries, not only can they not return your books like other stores can within 90 days, they will often buy multiple copies for their branches. So I am from originally Columbus, Ohio, and there's 47 branches. Each branch bought 4 of all of my books, and that has been amazing for me. But one thing that I do is, instead of saying, here's a PDF of my book, take a read, I'll send them the video of the creator, because I can't actually go there right now during COVID and do something fun. So they are like the responses to sending these, even bookstores, send an independent bookstore, send to Barnes & Noble, send them somebody reading your book that looks so cool that they have no other choice but to just want to buy it. So that's something great about Read-Alouds, is that you own this and you can do whatever you want with it and use it as a sales tool. There's no better sales tool than a person snapping their fingers and becoming a tooth fairy in the Tooth Fairies workshop for me.
That's amazing. I love it.
I saw a question from Laura. You guys know any of this library no return things or the same in Ontario? I don't know about Canada. I know that with my own book through Mascot Books, a library in general, because there's something about libraries where even libraries won't take books if they have any kind of interactive piece. So in the back, if you put like a bookmark and say, cut it out, or here's a word search, they're not going to take your books because they call it vandalism, book vandalism. So that's also something to be cognizant about. If you ever want to be in a library, you can't ask people to somehow destroy the book. But for the most part, libraries cannot return your book. There's some kind of rule with it. And so I'm very good with that. Most of my sales have been from libraries. And so we work with people to help them. We can help them get into libraries. We go to conferences. We have relationships with librarians and the ALA. And so we can help you by providing, lists to different librarians, as well as a pitch letter with all the information that a book acquisitions editor might need.
So all of these things kind of lead us into a phase 3 approach. And there are other outreaches that we do for phase 2. I mean, we do book trailers, we do social media marketing. So we just have a whole kind of list of things that we offer, because all of our contracts are customized to whatever the author needs, because everybody's in a different phase as an author. So in phase 3, we're doing library outreaches. We're also starting this new service called satellite media tours. And it's really cool because these lifestyle or beauty or, mom kind of influencers are going to these news stations in the top markets in the United States. And so they have a guaranteed placement for the product on these top market segments. And so we have been able to establish relationships with some of them and offer this service where it's a guarantee. So it's kind of like a GMA approach, where it's like holiday gifts, top holiday things to buy for the New Year's. And it's kind of based on certain select content. And so that's a phase 3 approach. It's really great when, you have your reviews done, maybe your awards, and you've done your social influencer. That way, whenever they highlight your book on these segments, they can put your social handle and people can follow you and see all the things that you have done. Somebody asked about Scholastic. Can you get in a book fair? We haven't tried very much to get into Scholastic. From my understanding, and I could be wrong, is that the royalty share is probably not something that I would want for Scholastic. And that's my only knowledge of it. And yes, I do believe Scholastic seeks out authors. We do have an author friend who was sought out for his books. And I think it was based off of different ads that he did in magazines and also on social media. So that's why you have to stay active in all different realms.
And I would mention, we do specialize in helping people with their launch, but we kind of coined this term once, and we also do book CPR. And so essentially that is, if you come to us and say, my book's been out for a year, for 2 years, and I feel like I'm not selling it, how can you work with us? And so that's one of the things we specialize in, is kind of giving your book a new life. We work with an author who has this really awesome picture book about a boy who finds a magic wand, and every time he says abracadabra, whoops, he makes his sister disappear. And he came to us and said, hey, it's been out for a while. It was doing well, but I haven't had the time or effort. And so we did a press release for him and talked about how it was going to be National Magician's Day on October 31st. And we did a press tour and we did all kinds of things for him, and it brought new life. And now he's ordering more copies of his books. And now he's kind of starting a new life. So it took on a new life. He's probably going to be printing a new cover with some awards that he won. And so we love a good challenge. And so for us, sometimes the challenge is giving new life to that book. And it's fun to think of creative ways to do it.
That's great. I have a couple of questions that I've been kind of writing as I go. With regard to copy, like having a good book description, having some good blurbs, I know that's an area that authors, including myself, struggle with. Do you make that part of what you look at when you're evaluating how you can help?
We definitely can help with copy. It's part of kind of when we do an intake it's almost like we do a medical intake. We have this consultation and we talk, where are you from? Tell us about your book. What are your needs? And so many times people's needs are something that we realize that we can provide that are beyond what we talk about. We've helped with copy. We've even, as we mentioned, we act as mentors, and some people have come to us and literally said, okay, I've got my book out. Do I send it for $5.95 priority shipping? And we're like, no, media mail. So we want to make sure our authors, we give them all the information that they need. But yes, writing a back cover blurb is so hard, and sometimes you just need fresh eyes. And I know that I rely on Allie a lot to look at mine and vice versa. And so we've definitely helped some authors in that. We've helped with bios as well.
What about press kits? Is that something that you have a service to assist with as well?
We sure
yes,
do.
That is, yep, that's in phase 1. And so we do a customized press release and a sell sheet, and, make sure that when a person goes on a virtual book tour, we're sending those materials digitally. And when they're sending influencer packages, they're printing them out, as Allie mentioned, going to Office Depot maybe and sending them so they look a little bit nicer with color.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody has any other questions.
Any other questions?
That was a lot of information that we gave, and we do have other services, but we won't keep you all night. What we typically do with a potential client, we'll have a Zoom consultation. We'll talk, like Lori said, we'll talk about where they're from, what they want to do, just any background information that can give us insight into what their needs are. Because sometimes they come to us and they don't know. They say, I've done this and that, and it's just not meeting, this marketing plan for me. So we kind of help organize those thoughts and come up with a plan. So within 24 hours, we send out a proposal that we feel would meet their needs. But within our proposal, we'll have the a la carte services at the bottom. So if we say you need a social influencer, virtual book tour, awards, reviews, press kit, and read-alouds, at the bottom, we might have book trailer, podcast, news outreach. And some of our authors have kind of pulled something from the bottom and put it up. Some people say, I can't do all that. Let's start with this, and then we'll move to phase two. And so we kind of work with them. We're very transparent. We outline the out-of-pocket expenses because some of them do have it. Awards, some reviews, virtual book tours, satellite media tours, they have out-of-pocket. For most of our companies, we have negotiated discounts, which we pass right along to you all. That way, we know as authors, you need every penny, every ounce of it that you can get to be able to market this book. And so we're here to be a part of your team to market and get your book out and get your journey out there in the world.
I love that. Now,
and we are excited that, I'm sorry, I was going to say, we're so excited that not only do we have our own clients, but we have a few publishers that have trusted us with their clients. And so, we work with a couple of publishers that we fulfill some of their marketing needs. And we not only do, we do a lot of children's books. That's really the bread and butter of what we do. But we have middle grade books. We have a cookbook. We have some different kind of books out there. So we really can do just about anything. Probably no erotica, but most everything else.
That's wonderful. So where can people find out more about your services and sign up for a one-on-one with you?
So they can visit our website, which is forewordpublicity.com. Foreword is FOREWORD, like a book forward. Forewordpublicity.com. On there, there's a contact form, which will lead you right to us. You fill that out. You can also find us on social media. Our Foreword Publicity is on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. You can follow me on the Alley Cat series. You can follow me also on Facebook, Instagram, or Author Alley. And Lori Orlinsky, author. Correct, Lori?
Yes, and my website. And I also just want to give you guys like a nice cautionary, just because I've been in this boat, Allie's been in this boat, no matter what PR firm you work with, do your homework and ask to speak to clients and find out, ask any question. Was it worth the money? If you had to pick one service that was not worth it, what would it be? If you had to pick three that were, what would it be? There are a lot of people right now, especially on those Facebook groups, kind of lurking and waiting to find authors that they can charge for different services. And so I also just want to caution you guys, never pay for an introduction to a podcast host. Never pay to be on someone's podcast. You want to work with a firm that has those relationships so you're not paying, these ridiculous booking fees, because I feel like everybody wants to make a dime these days. And it's very hard as an author to know what's real and what's not. So if you do get approached and you're unsure, feel free to ask us, and we can always tell you if we know if this company's legit or not. But if you're wondering, say, I'd like to speak with somebody that's been on the podcast, or I'd like to speak with this person. I mean, it's easy to want an opportunity, but just do your homework, because there are unfortunately just so many people that want to prey on authors because, we're green and we want to know everything.
Mm-hmm. That's great advice. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking time out of your busy schedule to help us. I've got so many ideas just from this session. I think I've got a new favorite session for myself anyway that I will refer to quite often. And I know I'll be scheduling some time with you, both for how, I can use your services on my books and how we can collaborate more to help our collective clients as well. So thank you again and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much.
You guys too. Thank you so much for this fun opportunity. And secretly, it's also so nice that my husband's watching my kids and nobody's around. So I'm hoping we could stay on about an hour longer. I'll just pretend.
Okay.
I'll just keep moving my mouth.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining. I will post the replay as soon as it's available. Take care.
Thanks, April.
Bye-bye.